What if slow progress was never the best that you could hope for? Most tutoring helps a bit, for a while, and then the term ends or the school year changes and you're back to looking for the next bit of help. I've had parents tell me they've spent thousands over several years and their child is still managing the same struggle, just with more support wrapped around it. Slow progress, and no guarantee that anything's actually going to change. Just more of the same, dressed up differently each year. If we think of it a bit like trying to run in shoes that are 2 sizes too small, lacing them up tighter, running further, pushing harder, none of that is going to make the shoes fit any better. It just makes the same hard thing hurt more and for longer. At some point, the answer isn't more effort in the same shoes, it's completely different shoes. So why doesn't more tutoring actually help? Well, it's because tutoring usually repeats the same fundamentals: word groups, sounds, sentence structure, memorisation. So repetition of this in a mind that was never going to hold on to information in that way. This is not what I do. My program doesn't repeat fundamentals. I teach people to tap into their visual strengths and apply it to their learning. There's something very powerful about taking a thought from inside your head and creating it in the real world. That's exactly what the clay work does, and it makes learning stick without hours of memorisation. If I think about 2 clients I've worked with recently, one told me she found everything at school hard. She hated school. She didn't like learning at school. She had no motivation to learn, and she didn't understand the instructions or what she needed to do. So she simply didn't do it. Another one told me that she just wants to get school over and done with. She doesn't like the school day. It makes her anxious because it's too hard and she feels miserable. I couldn't count the number of times I've heard some version of the same thing. Kids miserable and anxious because they're always left behind, catching up at playtime or in their own time, and watching as everyone else moves on without them. If I had $1 for every time a child has described that to me, well, I'd be a millionaire. So why do children with dyslexia or learning challenges internalise "I can't do it"? Well, both of the clients I mentioned are genuinely artistic. Both have spent years being told, just keep trying, just keep trying. What gets internalised is, I can't do it and I never will be able to do it. Well, that's simply not true, and it's not really fair. They've done everything that's been asked of them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a person who thinks differently and is what I call a visual thinker. What holds a child back is the self-esteem damage, the belief that something is wrong with them. This is built up by years of being asked to succeed at the one thing that was hardest for their mind to do. What changed for both of these previous clients wasn't doing more of the same thing. It was the clay in their hands. This provided a way of learning that finally matched how their brains work. One told me it was the first time she could visualize everything in her head. Both people are way more confident now. And the first one that told me that she hated school has told me she loves school and loves learning now. Something she never expected that she would ever say about herself. When you're using clay, you're learning something once rather than spending years trying to memorize what won't stay in your head. So that's the change I work with every single client. and take them from I can't read or I'm dumb and stupid to I can read, I can learn, and I'm definitely not dumb and stupid. Is three-dimensional visual thinking common in dyslexia? Well, many people with dyslexia describe thinking in this way, in three dimensions, in space, in pictures rather than lines of text. It's exactly the opposite of how most schools and tertiary institutions teach. If we think of John Britten, the New Zealand engineer behind the Britten V1000 motorcycle, he was dyslexic. He struggled with reading and writing and spelling his whole schooling. He worked almost entirely from diagrams and visual design instead, starting with go-karts as a kid and building up to a world record motorcycle. He failed at school by every conventional measure, yet he built an extraordinary career on exactly the kind of traditional teaching that they had no use for. So much of what's taught in classrooms has no naturally occurring picture behind it, no image, and nothing to visualize. Well, for a mind that needs something visual to learn, it's not just a small inconvenience. It's the equivalent of teaching 80% of the class in English and expecting the other 20% to somehow keep up in a language they were never taught. Does early support for dyslexia actually change the outcomes? Well, a comment landed on my LinkedIn page recently from a dad whose kids all have dyslexic traits, and he suspects that he has dyslexia too. He said years ago a spelled assessment gave his kids more than an explanation. It gave them tools and the confidence to use what he called a superpower. So his son now has a commerce degree and both his daughters are studying nursing. He said that prior to this, they never thought that university or polytechnic was even possible, or any tertiary education was possible for them. This is not proof of what I do, but it's exactly the kind of moment that convinced me the different matters. Real support that stops fighting the brain and works with it doesn't just help for a while, it changes the whole trajectory. That's the difference between managing something and solving it. It's why I see my work as a solution, not ongoing support. If your child is still needing help you thought they would have grown out of by now, this is worth a conversation. So please send me a message or find me at dyslexiaunpuzzled.co.nz. Let's talk about what's actually going on for them. If this video today brought someone to mind while you've been watching, please go ahead and share it with them. You never know who might need to hear this today. And please also hit like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching today.